Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of Money, Life and Gags with Harry and Mark. How are you, Harry?
Mark, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Very good, mate. Very good.
You were doing 4 to 5 calls a day,
Yes.
and what was the conversion of those 3 to 4 appointments becoming clients on average?
Usually 1 out of the 3 or 4.
Right. Okay. So about 25% roughly.
Yeah. Yeah. But silly me, I didn't go on with the phone calls to make those stats look better. So 6 months
You were your own worst enemy, huh?
100%.
Yeah.
And I used to go home and, read the motivational books, the rah, rah, rah. And that only works if you're going to put action behind it. If you're not going to put in the action behind it, it doesn't matter which world you live in, nothing's going to happen.
And this is all because you thought I put a shingle out and everyone's going to come.
Well, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, which was a misconception.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
100.
the box for you.
Yeah. And I also found out that in the financial services industry back in the early 90s, it probably exists today as well. I don't know what the numbers are, but out of every 10 people entering the industry, 8 are going to go out the door. I mean, that was just a fact. And
with all the changes in licensing and your education requirements and whatnot, a lot of the old school, probably our age and above, a lot of them have been cleaned out because, they're more old school in the way they gave advice, doing statements of advice and doing all the regulatory stuff, the compliance stuff, all that. For one client, there's a lot of work now, and
Yes.
you've got to use technology, and a lot of them are not tech savvy. There's a lot of them have been rooted out of the industry.
that's because of not wanting to adapt.
Yeah, and not meet all the the education requirements because the bar's gone up on how what qualification do you need to give advice now. Yeah, trying to get wrong capable.
Yes, but prior to adapting to the technology, nothing has changed from 30 years ago, and that is going and finding clients. That hasn't changed. That has
And huge changes. You can use social media now to attract clients. You don't have to do everything face to face. You can build a brand online, which I've seen financial planners do. They will come in that way. But that's the only thing that's changed. But the fundamentals of hustling hasn't changed.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in my office, maybe 4 or 5 months into it, just making the 3 or 4 phone calls a day. My door's still closed because I'm there for 8 hours, but I'm only working for about 15 minutes. I mean, you know how it goes.
What were you doing for the rest of the time? Playing Tetris or something?
No, well, you know what? Bloody hell, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just staring. I was doing nothing. I mean, I was just in no man's land. And Robin just opens my door. And he said to me, when you decide to get to make 10 calls a day, we can review your performance. It's almost as if he knew that I was only doing 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls per day. So I was really embarrassed. So I got up and left. I went home. And again, I'm about to quit. I'm actually about to quit. So I've gone home and I've said, my goodness, this man has been so patient with me. I mean, I'm hanging in there, right? So I haven't had that other talk where if you don't lift up your socks, you need to leave, because I was probably just doing enough just to hang in there. So the following day, when I went to his office, I'm about to quit, and I said, you know what, Robin, I'm going to make 10 calls. And he goes to me, great, off you go. So when I went into my office, I made 10 calls, but I only got 1 appointment. So that was a disaster. And I'm thinking, what's the point of making 10 calls or getting 1 appointment when the previous day I made 2 and I got 1 appointment? I mean, it just wasn't adding up, at the back of my head. I think this is what happens, Mark, when you're self-employed. It's a lonely world. And if you're not strong enough just to hang in there, you're going to bomb out. You're going to completely bomb out. So I've decided to take the second action, and that is up my phone calls to go from 10 to 20. and I hated it.
Is that because the cold calling exercise?
Yeah.
You hated that
I hated the
element?
rejection. Yeah, I hated the rejection. Hi, this is Harry Petropoulos from blah 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 blah, and that they used to hang up, or you said you get lost and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, feels a little.
Really?
Yeah, you know what it's like. You got to throw enough mud on the wall until something sticks.
It's a numbers game, mate.
It is. It is. So on one particular week, I said, you know what? I'm going to make 100 calls. That's 20 calls every day for 5 days. And you know what? I actually got to 9 appointments, not 10, 9. Well, you know what? That was my biggest week.
Wow.
Comparing it to the past. So I've got money coming in. And this money now gets me now really enthusiastic. Like I'm bubbling with enthusiasm. Like I'm driving a Porsche next week. Right? All that sort of stuff.
No, don't get ahead of yourself, will you?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, the money wasn't great, but it was far better than what I was doing the previous 3 years.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I picked up my diary yesterday, and I didn't throw it out. If you saw my diary from about May 91 to about November, I had no blank spaces. 0.
So the hustling
Yeah.
paid off at that period.
So when we started this episode, you mentioned about hustling. That's all I did. It's hustling. And I quickly understood all the people around me in my office that came in with the nice cars, with the nice shirts, thinking that they were just gliding. Bullshit. They were running 1,000 miles per hour on the inside. They were doing exactly what I was doing, but at a far bigger degree. So that clicked for me. And I still hated it. I still hated the cold calling. All right.
How long do you think it took you from the period of where you had to cold call and then build up that client base to a level where the cold calling really reduced because your word of mouth of your service that you provide your clients branched out and you had incoming people just calling you rather than, Jim told me to give you a call and Jack told me to give you a call and Lisa told me to give you a call and all that? How long did that take? Because I would imagine in your world at some point that occurred.
That's a great question. Don't fall off your chair. 7 years.
It took you 7 years to get to that.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have put that. I would have thought it'd be maybe around 3 or something, but that's a decent journey.
Nah, it took me 7 years to get to that. And I was about 30, 31. And
Yep.
funnily enough, I moved from that existing office because another person in the financial services industry, he saw something in me, which I couldn't see. Not that we were in business together. He just wanted someone younger in his office. So at that time, I'm 30. He's in his 50s. And Mark, I was just fortunate that for the following 2 to 3 years, I was in awe of this guy. Because even though we had separate offices, we were separated by glass. So I could see what he was doing. And let me tell you, he worked those phones like a madman. So he was averaging, I'll never forget this, he was averaging between 6 and 7 appointments per day.
And
Per
so
day.
it's a long day, isn't it? Because every appointment would go, what, half an hour to an hour?
Correct. So he would be in the office at 7 and he would finish at 7 because that's what he wanted to do. Whilst he was doing 6 and 7 appointments per day, I was averaging those 6 to 7 appointments per week. But I learned from this guy. And once he decided to move to Queensland, I was by myself again. I mean, you're always by yourself when you're self-employed. But then because I'd done all that hustling for 7 years, then the referrals started to come in. And as the referrals started to come in, I thought, you know what? The worst thing that I can do is stop hustling because the referrals were coming in. So I had 2 forces working for me and I kept moving and it kept moving.